Welcome guys, and in today's video, I just want to take you with me while I do this tattoo. It's going to be a wolf and a woman in a headdress, and there's going to be some real time, some speeding up. We're going to be lining it, shading it, and putting some white highlights in it. So if you guys are interested in watching that, then let's go. Alright, for this tattoo, I'm using the CNC Q2, and I'm currently running an 11 curved bugpin magnum, and I'm just putting the fur in right here. I'm following the stencil, I'm putting all those spots where there's purple, like I said, the stencil, that's all I'm doing at this point, is I'm just shaping all that in there. And I'm using a mag on the side because it works pretty efficiently for putting in fur and gives a little more of a natural feel. Also, I'm running about 8 volts for the entire tattoo.
I wish you all the best I can, but I stop myself for a while. I'm saying things I don't believe, the panic's rising.
And here I switch over to a tight 3 to put in some more of the details. You could use the mag in the same manner here, but for me I just wanted a little bit more accuracy, and I use mostly this 3 tight round liner for most of the tattoo, for most of putting in the black and lining those parts and doing small fills, and you'll see that throughout. Now most of this lining I'm doing here, I'm just kind of blocking things in. Yes, I am kind of lining and filling at the same time, but I'm not getting overly concerned about all the details right now. I want enough there to where I can work on it. I can come back and work on it a little bit more later. So you'll see that throughout as well. We're kind of lining, filling, but leaving some stuff to come back to.
Wish you all the best I can, then I stop myself for a while.
These areas where it's sped up 3 times fast. Most of the time, that's the fastest I've sped it up. So if you're wondering how fast this is, it's 3 times fast.
Strong has gone, but you can never go back. Struggle to survive, and you're still alive. Carry on. Even if you've been misled and all of your dreams are dead. Carry on. Even if you can't forget, take a quick look and see.
Tattoos like this, or tattoos with the stencil like this, where there's a prominent, dominant amount of purple, the stencil, it can be kind of tricky to see your lining through the purple. And with good lighting, it will help. And in this case, I'm using a headlamp where I can see really fine what is going on. But just keep that in mind. If you have heavy purple, a lot of stencil, it can be trickier to see what's going on. And here I'm using a 23 curved bugpin magnum, And I'm just doing the brushing method, where I'm brushing the skin. Yes, I'm putting pressure on it enough for the ink to go in, but you're layering it a little at a time. You can start light, see how it takes, and then maybe a little bit more pressure, maybe some of your darker tones. Just depends on how it goes. You kind of flow with the tattoo and how the skin is taking the ink.
Even if you can't forget, take a quick look and settle your regrets.
Now here, I'm using a 25% gray wash, and I'm putting in some hard lines, if you will, that when they heal, they're going to heal a bit lighter than that pure black, and so it'll just help give a little bit of depth to the fur, if you will. That's all that's happening here. I'm still using that 3 tight round liner, but you could use something else if you wanted to. I just used that 3 and built up the lines to the weight I needed them to be, and really just, again, following that stencil, referring back to the reference. Every time you see it go dark on the screen, that's my headlamp looking over at the reference, so a lot of back and forth. And from here on out, until I get to where I do most of the shading at the end, I'm continuing the same thing. I'm pretty much putting in my black / lining at the same time, and shading what I can with that 3. But after I'm done with all this, we're going to come back through with a mag and do some shading and give things depth and what have you. Also, I just want to remind you guys that we did start a podcast called the Art Something Tattoo Podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. And again, I try to upload there once a week or so. And that's just very similar to what we're doing here, only I just run my mouth about tattoo related stuff, share experiences, things like that. So if you're interested, I encourage you to check it out, and I appreciate it. And here I switch back over to that 11 curved mag. Again, I'm running my machine around 8 volts, give or take a small amount, and that's pretty consistent throughout the entire tattoo. Now I will say the skin was a little bit dry, and those are just some of the things you have to deal with. You can have your clients moisturize a little bit more beforehand if you think about it, but for the most part, you kind of work with what you have and you learn how to work with different types of skin and dryness or what have you. And here you'll see something I do quite often. I pull down on the skin with one hand, shade and wipe. Shade and wipe, shade and wipe. So I'm stretching with one hand, shading, and then take that stretching hand, wipe, pull it down. Alright, so here I'm coming in with the white, and I'm using that tight 3-round liner to apply the white. Again, you can use different needles. It's totally up to you. I was just using the 3 because it's very accurate, and I knew I was going to have to work in the eyes a bit. You can also get yourself a fresh needle. In this case, I just thoroughly cleaned out my needles. You can still see a little bit of the black residue in the tube. It's not interfering with my white at this point. And I'm also using Star Bright White for my white. And I will say I've noticed a big difference using this white over the other whites I've been using. It goes in nice, it seems to stay longer, or not longer, it just seems to stay, period. So if you're looking for a white, I would highly recommend Star Bright White. And once you get to the point where you don't really need your stencil anymore, that's when I will apply a bit of water to my paper towel when I'm wiping. It just helps absorb the ink, helps absorb whatever's on the skin, and makes wiping a bit better for the client and for yourself. And you can wipe at this point because obviously you're not worried about losing your stencil, so that's the key.
Something here has changed. On your side, you're on mine.
In this video, I really only show myself applying the white to the headdress in the woman, but also I put white into the wolf, a little bit into the wolf's fur, different places where I felt like a white highlight was needed. So just so you know, you might not see it here, but there were other white highlights put in as well.
I'll do what it takes to make you believe. With my heart and hyperdrive, we do what we want, but when I'm free, with our hearts on hyperdrive. You don't let them hear you. We're under the radar, day not true. And if we survive, I will never leave your side again.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it or maybe learned something or not. Either way, I appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It helps the channel. Also, if you subscribe, that also helps the channel. And one last thing, ring the bell if you want to get notifications when I post. If you want to get notifications when we go live. I am hoping to start the live show back up in November. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, guys.